All right. And we are live. They can hear us. So just I learned the hard way that they can hear us during this countdown. So
Okay. Yeah, I've learned a lot about technology the last 2 years.
yeah, it's fun. So hey everybody, Obi Woodchuck here. I have Beth Bourne with me today. Um, Beth, we're two parents forged in fire, fighting for our kids and truth. September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk's assassination at Utah Valley, gunned down in mid-sentence. It broke me. It broke me deeper than losing my mother and grandmother, strangely enough. It shook me awake. It made me step up like him. So that's what sparked my Charlie Kirk transgenderism and my daughter video, pulling my girl close through church and trans talks. So your bikini protest at that school board, that same fearless spirit, what lit that fire in you?
So I think, like you mentioned, Jeremy, I also was impacted by this in my own personal in my family. So it was about maybe 5 years ago when my daughter was only in seventh grade. She and many of her friends also declared, suddenly that they were this, trans boys, right? This new transgender identity that I really didn't know very much about. And so I've just been, over time, just doing a lot of research about the medical side of this and also the impact to girls and women in our sports and spaces. And I just started speaking out. And, I go to the school board every couple of weeks here in Davis, California. And the one recent 2-minute comment I did, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to try to do something that's more, let's demonstrate what it really feels like for a girl to undress in front of a boy in the locker room. And I was surprised that the school board shut down my I think they interrupted me at about the 30-second mark. And then they went into recess, brought us back in. And then I just said, can you tell me what I did that was disruptive? And they couldn't. And so I just did the same, again, I started undressing and they stopped the event again. So, but I was wearing a bathing suit. So, I swim and, I go to the public pools in Davis. So there's always moms wearing their bathing suits around children. It's not anything inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the video, and I actually watched you do another interview where they highlighted that video,
Yeah.
and it it definitely made its point. If they were that uncomfortable as adults in the same room with you, how are our children? Or how are they feeling? So
Right.
it really hit home with me, and then that's when I mentioned it to. Actually, I saw that on Facebook, and I said, you know what? I'm going to type this lady a note. I want to interview her. And then I reached out to Lisa Disbro, and she said she knew you, and she
Mm-hmm.
asked me if she would like, if I would like her to send you a message. I said, you know what? Let me try this one on my own, because she's already set up a whole bunch of interviews for me.
Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah,
I
she's
love
come to
Lisa.
Davis a dozen times, and we meet all the time at our California, legislative hearings because Gavin Newsom and Scott Wiener and the rest of them are absolutely insane and dangerous and hurting our kids here in California.
Amen. Yeah, I was with Lisa at the TPUSA event. Neither one of us could get in. So I stayed with
Yeah.
her. She wasn't going to leave. She's like, well, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be, out here with these people.
Right. Right. No, I
I was
saw
like,
some of the video you did. You were around the same crazy uh violent kind of militant protesters that I was around on Monday night. Yeah.
yeah, it was an eye-opening experience for me. I've never done anything like that. And
Right.
it
I know
was,
some friends called me, several friends, and asked the next day, "Are you okay? How do you feel?" And I said to them, I think I've become so desensitized to being in these sort of dangerous situations where I'm not always thinking rationally, like how dangerous this is. And I think, I went to hear Charlie Kirk speak here at UC Davis. I think it was 2.5 years ago, March 2023. Before he came, our Chancellor May, said that he was promoting the genocide of trans people or something to that effect, right? And so he kind of set the stage for, this huge mob of trans Tifa, Antifa types to show up here at UC Davis. And, that was the first time I saw something so dangerous. And, we were scared, and we were, had several men around us as we approached the event. And then 6 months later, Riley Gaines, who's like 5'3" and 105 pounds, shows up to UC Davis. And again, it takes 100, masked police officers and private security guards in riot gear to keep us safe, holding, and this was the Davis College Republicans Club on campus, to host Riley Gaines, who wants to talk about, her experience on her swim team, and having to swim against, William Thomas, who goes by the name Leah Thomas. But again, it took all this police protection. Very difficult for this school club to host a conservative speaker. My friends who came from Walnut Creek, they turned around when they saw how dangerous the situation looked. So they weren't even willing to, risk getting out of their car. And then, back in April of just this year, Turning Point USA, again, the club held an event on the UC Davis quad. Brandon Tatum was there. He's a former police officer from Arizona, and conservative speaker. Yeah, and we were attacked again. I was punched in the head, and my signs were stolen. So I think when I showed up on Monday, I've seen this kind of Antifa-like protesters, and I just don't want to see people not support these conservative speakers, and Rob Schneider is just amazing. Yeah. Go ahead, and if you want to show a video, people.
I didn't mean for it to start playing all of a sudden.
No. I mean, it's so cool. You know how to do all this stuff.
I'm still learning. Like I shouldn't have. Obviously, I'm still learning. I shouldn't have played it while you were talking.
No, it made it exciting. So. But yeah.
So yeah, here's what she's talking about right here. Oh, damn it. Hit the wrong
and
button.
I love Lisa's flag protest too. But yeah, that's UC Davis Quad, and that's April 3rd of 2025.
Go! See that? They snatch her sign and then punch her in the that.
Yeah.
And look, he's not even. I'm sorry, but Mr. Tatum, I'm sure he could barely restrain himself from knocking this person out. I mean, look. Go!
Yeah.
It's just some. No. It's not a fighter. It's just some. Pardon my language. Just some jerk. Just finding an opportunity to strike a woman because his face is covered. Yeah, I've seen this video, but from Officer Tatum's cameras. I've seen it on his show, so I didn't see you.
Yeah, that's me there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I'm actually pretty sure that's the person who hit me. If you look at their body and the way they hit me, that was actually a woman pretending to be a man. So I mean that's the issue. So many of these kids at UC Davis, they've got caught up in this idea that they can become a new person. Oftentimes, for women, they've been sexually abused or trauma or some really difficult times, and so they want to present as male, and then they're angry that in my case, I was holding a sign, in that video you showed, and the sign said, "Why are so many girls having double mastectomies?" Right. And, I've done the FOIA public records request from UC Davis, and I know they are doing these surgeries on UC Davis, young women. And it's free. They say they'll do everything to help you to make sure that either your insurance or it gets paid for, and that they can help with getting you to your appointments and, your recovery after the surgery. And, I show videos where our chancellor says 1 out of every 22 students right now at UC Davis is trans identified, right? I mean, that's insane. for one thing, nobody can change their sex, so nobody is really transgender, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 years ago is one in every 10,000. When I was growing up, it was just these men who were cross dressers or transsexuals who, got off on wearing women's clothing. But now we're teaching it in the elementary schools in California. And when kids get to UC Davis or UC Berkeley, they're asked, what are your gender, what's your gender identity? How do you identify? What are your preferred pronouns? What lived name do you want to use? And they let the kids know that it'll all be kept private. Their parents won't ever know. And then they, here in Davis, they have a free gender closet, at the campus where they give free breast binders to the college girls, and then penis tuck kits to the boys. So and they have a whole set of wardrobe and tape that the kids can use. And then they do give free hormones at the hormone clinic here at UC Davis, and it's the first and second year med students are working at this hormone clinic giving free cross-sex hormones to college students so they can become, infertile for life. I mean, it's insane. Sorry, I didn't mean to go so dark on there.
No. That's a word for it.
It's dark, It's evil, it's demonic. It makes me sad. And I love Charlie Kirk. I've heard him speak several times. I saw him back in May at San Francisco State. And I just love the way he, always encouraged this open debate. And, if you disagree with me, come to the front of the line and let's have a talk. And you can see the kids as they're talking to him, the students, they had that moment of oh, he's making a really good point. Now what do I do? And he was kind, right? He was a good, kind person. So
yeah. My first interview was a kid named Jay Benitez. He's 19. He goes to college out here in Antioch, and he's the president of the TPUSA chapter there. And so he actually met Charlie Kirk. He was telling me in the interview about how Charlie Kirk gave him his credit card to go get burgers for everybody. And it was just a really heartwarming little story. And I wish I had I wanted to meet him, and I was looking forward to getting an opportunity. And I just happened, I was on a roof the day he was shot, and I got a notification on my phone and saw the videos on X. And I was devastated. I couldn't work. We had to just clean up and go home. I was absolutely devastated. And that's when I unplugged my PlayStation, put it in the other room. I was a hardcore gamer. I mean, causes problems with my marriage. I neglected my children, and it just, his death snapped me out of it. I wasted too much of my life. And so probably wasted 20 years with a controller in my hand.
Oh,
years
yeah.
old, And so I look back and I look at my daughter and all her issues, her identity confusion, and it I can't help but blame myself. I wasn't there. I wasn't paying attention. And when I did notice what was going on, I didn't put my foot down. I was weak and distracted. And, so now I'm sorry, get a little choked up. But
yeah, no, I think, well, for one thing, all these things that have been coming into our lives are all new, right? I always say I'm so thankful that these smartphones didn't come in until my kids were 8 or 10, because they are so addicting, right? It's we're the first generation of parents that have, in your case, these incredible, fun, addicting video games that they allow us to kind of numb out too. And we didn't realize what our kids are seeing on YouTube, and how the TikTok algorithm works, and how this is being reinforced through their doctors, through their therapists, through the schools, people that we would have trusted. So I have so many things that I did in my life with my daughter, where I was like, why didn't I ask more questions? Like, why didn't I pick up her phone and go through her, her history? But I think we were kind of taught, give your kids the space and, give them their privacy. And we didn't know what was happening in the background. We couldn't see it. So,
Yeah. Well, I did do that once. I think she was 13
yeah,
and I took her phone away, or maybe it was 12, and I took her phone away
yeah.
for almost a year. But I was getting constantly bombarded by, her mom or grandma. It's like she needs to
Yeah.
have a phone. It's like, I don't think she needs to have a phone, or I
Yeah.
mean,
I gave my
seriously,
daughter a
I
phone
didn't.
at 10, and I'm like, my sister said she waited till her daughters were 16 because she's a school teacher and she knew how bad it is for those kids. But I thought, oh, my 10-year-old's, she's so bright and responsible. She can handle this. And little did I know that there's this Reddit and Tumblr and, all these like private messaging or, just discussions that are online that really, they're introducing ideas to kids that are totally inappropriate. So,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Amen.
we're just the first parents that had this happen to our children. So, I try to remind my mother, who's always so sad about this, but I said, like my older brother, these were the first teenagers that were really impacted by, drug use, right, in the 70s. And so parents were terrified, and parents did lose their kids to, my brothers, thank God, are all fine. But like, we had friends whose teenage sons, had huge drug issues, and lives were lost, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s with, like, cocaine in our private schools. And yeah, so it's just another new danger to, teenagers and young people, that parents have a really hard time protecting their kid.
Yeah. Especially when society, we're living here in California, tells us we're evil
Yes.
to do so, you
Yes.
know, uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was
and,
so
and,
excited to
and
talk with you today, because I know you're a parent who's like, I want to do everything to let people know what's happened. So I
yeah,
just thank you for your.
thank you. I feel convicted and
Yeah.
responsible, and knowing what a huge force for good and for God and for Jesus to Charlie Kirk was, and watching his life drain away before my eyes like it did, I felt this huge gap,
Mhm.
a huge void left, not only in my heart but in the world. And like I said, I was convicted. I felt it was my job and my personal responsibility to put away the games, start living real life, and start trying to make a difference and see if I can, I don't know, narrow that gap or fill some small part of that void. So here I am,
Yeah.
and I do a Bible reading live stream every night with my other daughter in Tennessee, and
Oh, that's
it's bringing us
amazing.
close. Yeah,
That's
it's bringing us
amazing.
closer together, and now
Yeah.
her boyfriend joins us on the stream, and it's been quite an experience. It's really helped repair our relationship because she's practically estranged. You know, we were. She, I mean, I still loved her. She still loved me. We would, but I
Right.
didn't. I didn't talk to her unless she called me or texted me. I
Yeah.
was. And now I feel so guilty about all of it,
Right.
but I'm trying to let that go and just go forward. And so here
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I heard Charlie Kirk speak for the first time. So this was 2.5 years ago at UC Davis. And a question one of the students brought up, I think, was something about relationships with parents. And he said that in 99, percent of the time, a child should still honor their parents, whatever faults your parents have, but that, like the Bible teaches us, or that you should have, respect and love for your parents, and accept them. And we live in this time of, estrangement is an epidemic, right? Everyone is estranged from somebody in their family, or someone because of either their political views or something in the past. And I think we just need to get beyond that. And his message of like, you can still love and respect your parents, and of course, like, parents should love and have a closeness with their child regardless of your differences. So yeah. So
That actually reminds me of, I'm trying to pull it up here. Ooh, stop. Don't talk yet. Trying to pull it up. I started a segment called Letters for Loved Ones. I read. Dang it! I hit the wrong button again. This is so confusing sometimes. Hey, but I can't see you. I'm looking at all these other screens. But I did a segment, or I did a video like 2 days after Charlie Kirk's death, where me and my daughter had a really heart-to-heart conversation, and I saw a glimmer of hope. And I made this video, and it went viral, at least for me. It got like 80,000 views and 600 comments. And, I was on vacation when it started blowing up, and I spent all my evenings like trying to respond. But I noticed a common theme, like you were saying, a lot of estrangement, a lot of parents and daughters and sons losing contact over politics. So I kind of extended an invitation to everybody. I set up a new email address just for that purpose. And I said, everybody email me at obwoodchuck@yahoo. So if you have a letter that you would like read aloud, if there's somebody.
Oh, what a great idea.
Well, I got one letter so far. This was over.
Okay.
I still read it like 2 or 3 times a week. And I'm hoping to get more letters to read out loud, because I know that I saw it in my comments. It's common. It's way more common than it should be. And so I'm hoping that can take off, and maybe we can create some reconnections. But it just feels like a higher calling. I'm really, really excited about all of it.
That's great.
So I wanted to play this other video. I wanted you to elucidate us, if you could, about what hit you at.
Oh, sure.
And where were you standing? Because me and Lisa I was trying to figure out where this actually was.
Okay, so I was one of the, I guess, thousands of people who I had thought I had gotten my ticket because they said I did, but then the University of Berkeley said, no, you need to use our ticketing system. So then all of a sudden I didn't have a ticket. So and one of my friends is the rep for TPUSA, and he said, well, just go to the front of this line, or get near the front and see if they can get you in. And so I'm waiting in that corner. You see the woman with the blonde hair. I'm right in that corner. And then this video, my boyfriend is holding the phone. And, it's kind of fortuitous that he happened to have a phone as we start to hear this loud noise. And then, you could play the video. I mean, it was insane.
All right, here we go. Crazy.
Yeah, you can see right here. I'm trying to get around the barricade, but I don't know where my boyfriend is, and so I'm kind of ducked behind the barricade at the end of this little clip here. But we didn't know.
It hit.
Right, it hit the side of the wall, and all of a sudden you felt this like cold, icy liquid on your skin, and I didn't know if this is something like tear gas or some acidic liquid. And your first response is my skin going to start peeling off, or is this the end of my life? I mean, that was the response at least I had, because of this extreme kind of violence these protesters have shown at these TPUSA events.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be, especially with knowledge at our fingertips like it is. They could research anything they want and come up with all kinds of crazy scenarios. It's stuff that
Yeah.
we wouldn't have thought of 20 years ago because we didn't have the whole Encyclopedia Britannica at our, learn how to make this and make this rice and this
Right.
and all kinds of crazy crap.
Yeah.
It's amazing what we're up against these days and the evil that permeates the society.
Right. Right. No, we were just
Brutal.
a peaceful group of people who wanted to hear, Rob Schneider and Frank speak. And so we're just waiting in line, to get in. And they want to make it so, you don't feel comfortable listening to a conservative speaker on a public university campus by acting that way. And, the chants they were yelling about Trump and fascism, and I can't remember all the chants, but they're just, the whole thing was insane. It's like if you disagree with what's being said in this event, come in and ask questions, and you're invited in, right? Everybody was invited to come in. Yeah. So I didn't wear anything. Actually, my shirt says UC Davis in that picture. I didn't want anyone to recognize me from other protests or events I've been at. But, I'm standing in front of about 30 police officers right there. And so I felt safe having my signs. But, a few minutes after I held up that sign that said, "Why are so many girls having double mastectomies?" A masked, protester, I'm pretty positive she was a trans-identified young woman, grabbed my sign and said, "Kill yourself," and then runs away.
Oh
So
my
she
Lord.
grabbed the no men and women's sports or bathrooms. That's a sign she grabbed from me and stole it. And then, but I think she just didn't like the fact that I was saying, you need to learn to love your body. You need to realize this is an unfolding social medical scandal, and you're being harmed by it. But they don't want to hear the truth, and that's why they're shutting down this kind of speech, right? These kind of conservative voices. And it's not even conservative, right? It's just people that believe in reality and protecting children and women and vulnerable adults from harm. So
Yeah, that lady standing behind you, I met her, the ambassador of fun.
yeah.
She she is a trip. I ended up hanging out with her for an hour and a half because she couldn't
Oh,
get in either.
oh,
But
yeah.
she's a trooper. Here, let's play this one real quick. You can see that
Okay.
exactly what they're talking about. The lady does come up, steal your sign.
Oh, yeah.
See it better this way. Here she comes. I'm looking for her. I watched it already. I was going through your profile earlier.
Yeah.
Although this is the 2-minute version, so I'm not sure how far in it happens.
Oh, yeah. I know. I can't remember either. It might be coming up here in a second. But there were no signs allowed in yes, you event.
Good. I can adjust the volume.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, did I change it? Oh, I didn't change the video, did I?
No, I don't know if it's a little bit.
Oh, okay. No,
this might be
the
a
other
different
one.
video.
Yeah, it's the wrong one.
Yeah.
Durr.
Yeah, she's standing next to the furry, the woman in the kefefi and the mask who takes my let's see. Yeah, that's it right there. You're so good at this stuff. I don't know how to do this. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah.
Turn the volume down more so we can. Oh,
Yeah,
there she goes.
I just said if you're born a girl, you grow up to be a woman. If you're born a boy, you grow up to be a man. And then she says, "Kill yourself."
Well, it seems like a rational response.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, why are so many college student young women having double mastectomies when their breasts are, they're healthy. They're not, they don't have breast cancer. They're, they don't know what it's like to hold a hungry baby in your arms and need to breastfeed a baby. So how can doctors, surgeons, be removing their body parts? I don't know. It's just insane to me. It's insane. So
it is insane. The
yeah,
definition of insane.
right.
It's crazy.
And the same liberal women, these are my friends. I was a lifelong Democrat who would not give their children, milk that wasn't organic, or, didn't want to have GMOs in their food. These are the same liberal women who are like, of course we want to have gender affirming care. Of course we should, believe big pharma. If they're saying puberty blockers are good, so what about brain development and bone density? The doctor said, the kids will kill themselves if we don't put them on blockers and cross-sex hormones.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
The same doctors that caused the opioid epidemic.
Yes, exactly.
And the same people that told us eggs were bad for 15 years. I mean, I don't believe anything that comes out of anybody's mouth anymore without doing my own research.
Exactly.
And you got to trust your gut. You can't let somebody tell you that something is so obviously, that something that is so obviously false is real.
Right. I know. I lost all my friends. I literally lost like an entire, groups of friends in my little town of Davis because I just said to them, this makes zero sense. And I show them examples of what's happening in Sweden and Finland and the UK, and, just I'd show them detransitioner stories. And then I realized, what, there's nothing I can say that will get them to change their minds. They see me as, bigoted or transphobic just for believing in reality. And, that this is a medical scandal, and I'm okay not having very many friends anymore, and I'm making new friends. So thank you to everyone who's
better friends.
yeah, exactly. No, I
ones that actually have your best interest and welfare at heart. Because if somebody can divorce you over your opinion, how good of a friend were they to begin with?
Right. But I think for women, there's this real feeling of like you're either in the group or you're out of the group. And in Davis, to be in the group, you have to all have the same political viewpoints, right? So you could never have somebody who says, hey, I think some of, what President Trump or JD Vance is saying does make sense. No, you're out. You're out of the group. You have to all agree, that Trump is evil and that, these kind of these shared belief systems. And it wasn't like this when I was growing up. My mom had, all kinds of women friends who were both Democrats and Republicans and independents. And, you were just friends with people because they were your neighbors or they were in your, bridge group or church group. But yeah, it's a real shame.
Yeah. This is an ideology that believes in the concept of a utopia, and you can't have one if there's any dissension or oppositional thought. Everybody has to have the same groupthink, or there can be no peace. The way they look at it, so it's an interesting dynamic. So. But we're at 33 minutes. I know you wanted to go only half an hour, and I kept you.
Well, I want to come back and talk again because this is so fun, and it's such an exciting time, interesting time we're living in. Our Assistant Attorney General, Harmeet Dillon, she just flew from Washington, D.C. yesterday, right? She got to I think she's either at Berkeley today. She said she was going to the site of the incident, right? And she's meeting with witnesses, people that were there, talking to the FBI and the local police, and she's really taking this investigation seriously. Her law firm is the law firm that's been representing me the last 2.5 years. So the Davis School District served me with a restraining order in fall of 2023. And then the University of California, Davis, where I was working for 12 years, they put me on investigatory leave for 8 months. It was paid leave, but they wanted to make an example of me, that speaking out on drag queens while I was in Hawaii on vacation, and my other views on gender ideology wouldn't be tolerated on campus. And so anyways, I've had great legal representation from Hermie Dillon's law firm here in San Francisco, and she's just doing amazing work. So we should talk again in a few weeks as this investigation kind of unfolds, and they get more into
Absolutely.
what really was behind Monday night at UC Berkeley.
Yeah, I'll have to find her Twitter and send her a link to my TPUSA compilation. Maybe they'll look. I'll get some views. Maybe they'll watch my videos.
No, they want all the footage, right? So if you were there on Monday night and you witnessed things, it's going to help them identify, who were the people who were, organizing this kind of, attack on free speech, and so
yeah, I have over 2 hours of footage recorded and posted. So yeah,
that's great.
I've got some footage.
Yeah, no, that's just good.
Crazy chance, I mean, if you honor Charlie Kirk, join him 6 feet under dirt.
Oh my God!
It's like, look, come on, ChatGPT, give me some crazy chance. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, actually, no, I think I did see that. I did see that part of your video, and there's a time where these mass protesters, they're trying to repeat after what he's saying with a megaphone, but sometimes these new chants are too long and they can't repeat it back, and it's just kind of funny. It's really comedy.
Well, they're all on drugs. There's not a single one of them that's sober. I mean, I watched this video of an Antifa guy that left the organization and was kind of spilling the beans. And he says, you have never seen an Antifa member sober. They're all on drugs, most likely meth or coke, something along those lines, or maybe even LSD or something crazy like that. But that's one of the reasons why they're so out of their mind, because they're literally out of their mind. So it's crazy, crazy times.
Yeah, I mean, I think I prayed more on Monday night for those protesters, even more than the conservative young people who were there, because they're healthy and strong, and family, faith, freedom. They're so happy to be in America and be patriotic. I pray for their safety, but I really pray for the protesters. And those young people who have been brainwashed or indoctrinated or taught to hate themselves, hate our country, hate, speech, free speech. So yeah,
I'm a big believer in Jesus. I think that would solve all those problems if they would stop trying to take it away from everything. That's I don't know. That's just me. Now my trans daughter goes to church with me, and she was fighting it at first, but she does sign language in school.
Oh, that's great.
So now she sits up front so she can practice her sign language with the sign language lady at the church. So
that is so neat. That's so cool.
So that's pretty cool.
That's just amazing.
All right. Well, sweetie, I know I've kept you over, and I'll let you go. And I look forward to doing this again with you. I've had so much fun, and I was nervous, and now I'm not. So
no, it's really fun. Yeah, you're cool stuff you're doing. Thanks, Jeremy. Have a great afternoon. Much.
You too. All right, everybody. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you again tonight at 7 p.m. All right, later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.